This is the Albany Planning and Zoning Commission meeting for May 13th. Begin the meeting by please joining us in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And the roll call.
Yes, Commissioner Geeson-Fields.
Present.
Commissioner Kent.
Present.
Commissioner Minotti.
Here.
Chair Donaldson.
Here. Okay, the next item on our agenda is the consent calendar. I think tonight we have the largest consent calendar that I can remember anyway, 7 items, if I count correctly. So there's, it might be a little complicated to deal with. One of the items on the consent calendar is an application from Commissioner Minotti, so he can't vote on that, and we'll have to deal with that appropriately. Since it is a consent calendar item, and since it's his personal application, he does not have to leave the room under these circumstances, I don't think. We can decide. Let's. I think we're okay. We can play it by ear on that. Okay. So the first 3 items are minutes. I have some comments on the minutes. So they're minor typos. I guess if the commission is okay with that, when we're done with these things, maybe I'll just go over them. Does anyone else want to pull any of the items on the minutes? Any minutes? The 3 items. So I'll go through my minor edits when we're done with the other items. The next item on the consent calendar is a planning application for 1106 Ordway, and that, it's for 1104 Pomona is the next item, item D. Is there anyone who'd like to pull that item? Seeing no one. Is there anyone in the audience who'd like to speak or address this item, 1104 Pomona? Okay, so that item stays on the consent calendar. The next item is a design application for 1106 Ordway. Val is the applicant, so he can't participate in that. Are there any other commissioners who'd like to pull this item from the consent calendar? Is there anyone in the audience who would like us to discuss this item? Have any questions or comments about 1106 Ordway? Okay, seeing none, we'll leave that on the consent calendar. The next item is a design review for a lower level addition at 838 San Carlos. Is there anyone who would like to pull this item? I would. So I want to pull this item from the consent calendar. All right. The next item is planning application 15020. It's a zoning clearance for the Verizon antenna replacement for self tower antennas at Golden Gate Fields. Is there anyone who would like to pull this item?
I guess I would. I just have a question for the applicant if they're here.
Okay.
But I'm guessing
A question on that one. Okay. And that is it. Okay. Let's see. I think I'll go through the minutes, and then we might be able to prove them with the corrections. So, Anne, on the minutes of January 7th, on page 3, line 27, I think the last word which says by should be but. Yeah, there's just some typos in here, let's get them right. And then on the same minutes on page 5, I would say on line 12, I think it should read, Commissioner Geeson-Fields recommended keeping the spacing of the roof ridges. I'd like to add that. Otherwise, it's hard to understand what you're talking about.
it makes sense.
As tight as possible. Okay, so that would be on that one.
That catch.
And then on page 6, line 9, I think the second to last word should be services, not serviced. And on page 39, the word should be interest, not interesting. And that's that one. On the minutes of the 28th, Ann, you okay? You getting those? Okay. On page 3, line 41, it should be wished, no one wished to speak. And on page 4, the first line, Chair Donaldson wanted to see some bike racks to be installed in the project. I think that would be good enough. I think it might have been more specific in the garage area, but I think in the project is adequate. And then, on page 5, line 30, there's a strange asterisk floating on that line. And then on the last page, page 6, line 27, I think it should read identified steps needed to implement. And then on the February 11th minutes, I think there was, on page 6, line 20, let's say, instead of secondary addition, let's say secondary residential unit, just to be more technically accurate. And that's it. Nothing substantive, but with those changes, we can have better minutes. Okay. All right, so the minutes now are done. 11:04 Pomona is on the consent calendar. 11:06 Ordway is on the consent calendar. Let's see. Eric, if we talk about, you just have a small question on the zoning clearance?
Yeah.
Why don't you go ahead with that?
Okay. I don't know if there's a representative from Verizon. Oh, okay, if you could just come up. I'll wait till you get up, sorry. Simple question. Basically, I would just want to know if you knew what the exact specifications and specifically the physical dimensions of the new replacement antennas compared to the old ones, because I saw the plans but didn't have any dimensions of them, and it just kind of mentions that they'll be of same or similar size.
Sizes.
So I guess my question is, do you know what the specific dimensions are? Because I'm guessing you had to base your photo renderings on something.
Right. The replacement antennas are different sizes compared to the existing. I know there's different models, but one particular model I'm thinking of, it's about half the size as far as width, and it may be a couple inches taller. But other than that, they're similar in size.
Okay, so they're all going. So in essence, my understanding that they'll all be more or less smaller in size than the current existing ones.
As far as width, because the existing ones I believe are 23 inches wide, and so a lot of the replacements are 11, so they're like half the size and maybe a little bit taller, but width-wise they're smaller.
Okay, great. I guess I just wanted to confirm that. I guess kind of a word to the wise. In the future, it would be wonderful. I appreciate the detailed plans that you submitted, but if you could include any kind of specific specifications for the antennas.
Okay, like an antenna comparison chart, basically. Yeah, I could definitely do that.
Thank you.
Okay.
Could I?
Oh, yeah.
Please.
One question. The simulation is looking at they're painted green, but I didn't see that they're going to be painted green.
Painted to
afterwards?
match, correct.
To match the
The existing structure, to blend in.
Okay.
Great. Those are all my questions. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Any other, so do you you don't need to pull the item now for further
no.
discussion, staff report and all of that? You're
No,
satisfied?
I'm satisfied.
Chris, are you okay? Okay. All right. Then I'll accept a motion to approve consent calendar items, including the minutes, 11:04 Pomona, 1106 Ordway and the Verizon application at Golden Gate Fields.
Actually, Chair Donaldson, could we take out 1106 Ordway since Commissioner Minotti's recused and take a vote on those other
separate
items?
Okay, we can do that. So we will, so this motion, so anyone want to move?
Sure. Yes, I'll, okay, I'll do the motion again. Motion to approve the meeting minutes, and as you said, 1104 Pomona. We will exclude 838 San Carlos, 1106 Ordway, and we will include the Golden Gate Fields Verizon application.
Okay, is there a second?
I second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, so that's been approved unanimously, and for applicants in the room, that means that Nicole, 11, your project redesign has been approved. That's all set. Again, there's a 14-day appeal period. You're aware of that. And for Verizon, the project's been approved, and there's a 14-day appeal period. And I think he's left. And what am I missing? Anything? That's it for right now. Okay, that's good. And congratulations and good luck moving forward with your project. That's terrific. Okay, the next one then is 1106 Ordway.
You know, just to be safe, I think I will.
Okay.
There's no discussion on this, right?
That's his house.
Right.
Yeah, unless you have
Okay.
something. But no.
You can make a
So
motion if
we
you...
can make, I'll take a motion to approve it on consent.
Go ahead.
I'll make a motion to approve, he's Ordway, right?
Yeah.
PZ SR 1106 for Ordway Drive.
Seconded.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, it's been approved. Okay, why don't you go get Val? Okay, so that's good. So. All right. Val, your project was approved. Good luck moving forward, and you know you're aware of the appeal period as well. Okay. The next one then, 838 San Carlos. I think I pulled this one. I have a couple of comments and questions, and if necessary, we'll ask for a full staff report and we'll have the public hearing. But I have two questions. First of all, I didn't see any story poles, and do you know why that would be? Or, I mean, I think since they're raising the building, are story poles appropriate? You have any thoughts on that, or did you ask them to put up
I
story-
did not ask them to do that because they weren't building up. They're basically taking the existing shell, and there will be a slight height increase, but I didn't require them to do that as part of the application.
Okay, okay. And then the other question I had has to do with the floor area ratio, and I'm worried that I see a lot of extra empty space that would be legal space in the basement that they call storage.
Right, so I can take the first crack at this, and the project designer is here as well. With the scope that they have right now, the budget is such that they can only do this family room addition on the lower level, and at a future date, they would like to condition that space, but they're not proposing that as part of this scope. And so typically, when we have that, what we do is we require a deed restriction that prohibits any unlawful conversion of that space. And when the time comes that they do have the funds to proceed, we would lift that deed restriction, we would do a quick claim, and then they would come back to you with that additional square footage.
So there is a deed restriction in the conditions of approval? I had missed that.
I may not have put one in there, but I've done it as part of the building permit, and we can certainly
So you
include
would
that
do
as a
that.
condition.
Okay, so we could make that a condition. And then, so a deed restriction right now, then it could be removed if they wanted to come back,
Right.
convert that space to living space, which then might or might not result in an FAR issue. I haven't done the calculations on it. Yeah.
I've done that on administrative projects, where we prohibit that conversion until the property owner is ready to move forward, and it hasn't been an issue.
All right, all right. Okay, anyone
May I?
else have any questions? And are there other commissioners who would like to, either we can approve this on consent, or we can open a public hearing and have a staff report and have a public hearing and then discuss it?
I mean, I guess my first inclination is to have a public hearing on it, just to be fair to the applicant, give them a chance to speak, address any concerns.
All right,
But that's my, I don't know.
I'm comfortable with that. Okay, all right. So let's see. Why don't we go ahead and, I think let's just go ahead and do that right now. So I think that's good. So Ann, do you want to do a staff report on this a little bit, or are you?
I mean, I could do a very abbreviated one, but it sounds like you might have more questions for the project designer who's, it's at your.
Okay, well, why don't we have Mr. Waters come up then? I think we'll skip the staff report and, let's see. But maybe, Ann, you could bring the plans up on the screen if you could. Mhm. Okay. Mhm. All the findings.
Good.
Okay. So why don't you tell us a little bit about what you're doing here, what your objectives are, and then I'd like you to talk a little bit about the shell space that's going to remain in the bottom, in the lower level.
What we're doing is the client right now has a minimum amount of funds, and right now the economy it's just starting to heat up very badly, and I have some time where I was able to do the architecture on this project and do the design. In a year or two, I'm not going to be able to, and prices are going up all the time. So, and also they need one extra bedroom for one of their children right now. Right now, both boys are sharing a bedroom. So it becomes imperative to, if we can get it shelled up, right, and get one bedroom and a family room down there. Also, the wife is an accomplished musician, and she would like a music room. Then phase 2 will incorporate another bathroom and then another bedroom to get both bedrooms downstairs, and we intend to re-stucco. No one loves the aluminum siding, right?
Pardon me?
No one loves the aluminum siding.
Yeah.
But right now, we're going to live with the aluminum siding on the upper floor, and then we're going to replace that in phase 2. We understand that we'll trip the sprinklers rules when we go and we fill in the rest of this. We're really well aware of that. And the plan is to put a couple of pipes in there now, and then when we do the addition, have the sprinkler system in the already serviced rooms already in place, so that we can just attach to them and then put sprinklers in the upstairs and then the rest of the downstairs.
Okay. And your plan is to raise the whole building then?
7 feet, I believe.
About 7 feet, yeah. Okay. And then put like a new foundation or the?
Yeah, new foundation all the way
wall?
around.
So that'd be a concrete wall in the front then, or?
No, it's going to get, to the front, there'll be like a 2-foot or 1-foot wall. We're like a foot below grade, right? Not very much. And in the back, the lot slopes off dramatically. So in the back half of the building, we'll have wood frame floors, and on the front half, when we do the addition, we'll probably do slab on grade.
Uh-huh. Okay. Any other questions for the applicant?
I guess while we're at the design, are you able to pull up the proposed east
Yeah,
All right. Sorry. Sorry, I didn't make you do that.
yeah.
I guess it's just a question about the elevation shows a pole coming up in the middle of the length of the stairwell.
I gotta look at it. It's been a month.
I guess I'm just looking for clarification as to what it
What
is.
sheet that is? Okay, there.
It's this pole right here.
This is closed-in space, right? This is gonna be like rakes, gardens, lawnmowers. This is an open staircase that's underneath. This is a support, and the
Oh, okay.
not let us just bolt to the side anymore.
Okay. Okay, I didn't realize that was a support for the stairwell.
Okay,
And the guardrails are not allowed to be lagged on to the sides anymore. You have to take them down to the ground or do something more substantial to comply with the lateral pressure rule.
And just a question, do you have any idea as to what the actual material makeup will be of the railing?
My advice would be redwood rails and probably a composite decking. And I'm pretty sure that's what we're going to end up doing. And just to go over it, this will be redwood, this will be redwood, this will be redwood, this will be redwood, this one stringer will be redwood, it'll be treated redwood behind that, and it'll probably be composite material on the decking because it lasts longer.
Okay.
Pretty standard, pretty straightforward. I mean, I generally specialize in extremely high value for cost projects. And if it becomes, something where someone has the funds to do an elaborate design, I hand it off to an architect or you guys get the job.
Okay. Yeah, no, I mean, it seems like a modest addition. Good. Thanks.
okay, okay. Any other questions? Nope. All right, I think I'd like to open up, is there anyone in the audience who'd like to address the commission on 838 San Carlos? All right, seeing no one then, I will open and close the public hearing at the same time. Commissioners, so this is still a consent calendar item, and I can accept a motion, I guess? Or any further discussion?
A motion to approve PZSR 838 St. Carlos Design Review Planning Submittal. Right?
Motion seconded.
Okay. Any further discussion? Been moved and seconded. All in favor? Aye.
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 Okay, no one opposed, and so it's been approved. So your project's been approved. There's a 14-day appeal period in case anything happens, but after that, you're free to take out your building permit and move forward. Thank you, good luck with the project going forward. Great, thank you. Good. All right. So that should complete the consent calendar for tonight, and let's move on now to the next item on the agenda, which is sort of the public comments section of the meeting. Anyone who'd like to address the meeting, the commission tonight with public comments? Alexa?
Good evening, Commissioners. I'm Alexa Hauser. I'm an Albany resident and a member of the Diverse Housing Working Group. As I think you are all aware, this week is Affordable Housing Week, and I hope you have or will be able to attend some of the events. This is the East Bay Housing Organization's guidebook that is their signature publication that is launched this week. I'm going to pass them around. If you don't have one, please take one. If you do have one, pass it along, and I'll pass it to someone else. I've attended a couple of events so far and have 3 more that I'm going to do later in the week. This morning, I attended an event in Walnut Creek called Creative Housing Options for Inclusive Communities. And the issues that were discussed there made it clear to me that Walnut Creek is very similar to Albany in some of the challenges it faces, although it has more open land than we do. So there's more possibilities there. But the solutions that we discussed are very similar to the solutions that you have built into the housing elements. So I want to acknowledge that and say that we're very much trying some of the same things. So a housing first strategy, including wraparound services for people who need them, both new housing projects and conversions, support of, I think it's AB 1335, housing impact fees, providing the range from emergency housing to permanent housing options, rental subsidies, home sharing, those kinds of things. In addition, there was quite a bit of talk about jobs and job training needing to be around where housing exists that's affordable. The other session that I attended just before this was the graduation of the first class of leadership housing advocates through the academy offered at EBHO, and it was very inspiring to hear the experiences of the graduates and their teachers. And so we have now 30 more people who live in affordable housing who are able to work with their communities to advocate further. So hopefully we'll have some of them visit Albany sometime and talk with us about what's important to them as people who need affordable housing. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thank you. Thanks for the guidebook. That's great. All right. Thank you. Is there anyone else who'd like to address the commission tonight on anything that's not on the agenda? All right. Seeing no one, then I'll come back to the agenda, and the first item of new business is the study session on 958 Neilson. And I think, do you have a staff report on
I
this?
sure do. Staff report and some exhibits. So before you this evening is a study session review, not formal action, just an opportunity to provide feedback to both the staff and the applicant on a variance and design review request. The subject site is 958 Neilson. It is a 2,700 square foot lot, but where in Albany we typically see lots with 100 feet of depth. This is, for all intents and purposes, a square. It has 53 feet of depth on the north side and 46 on the south side. So it's a pretty constrained lot. The applicant is proposing to enclose an existing porch here at the southwest corner of the home, which technically right now counts as the floor area ratio because it is covered with 2 walls and a roof. They're simply proposing to enclose that and create a second bathroom within the home. So that request in and of itself is pretty straightforward, but because of setback issues and the lot size, a variance would be required as there's no way to satisfy all of the setback requirements of the municipal code. Just for the benefit of the new commissioners, variances are pretty unusual for us to bring to you because the criteria that has to be met, the set of findings, is pretty strict. In this case, though, after we've looked at this application, I believe that we can make the findings because the request in and of itself is fairly minor. That square footage technically counts as part of the FAR. It is existing. So we do believe we can make the findings, but we wanted to bring this to you first so that you can provide feedback, and then depending on the outcome this evening, the applicant would come back, pay the additional fees for the application, and we would bring this back to you for formal action. Altogether, the square footage that they're proposing to enclose is 15 square feet, so it is a pretty modest addition, but it does require variance and design review. I noted in the staff report that we would request a site survey as part of the application, and it just so happens that we did receive a site survey just before the meeting this evening, and it looks to be consistent with the plans that were included in your packet, so it does in fact have a 4-foot rear yard setback and a 4.5-foot side yard setback, but I will pass this around.
Okay. Any questions of Ann?
So what setback on the north side is just a couple feet?
On the west side, it's 4 feet, and on the south side, it shows 4.5
The
feet.
north
So it's
side?
basically a 4-foot backyard, or 4.5-foot deep backyard, if you
Right.
could call it that.
Yeah, and one other thing to note, in the staff report, there were photos, they do have foundation permit to do some repair work, but yeah, it's essentially, it's a 4-foot wide backyard.
I think what you're saying, Chris, maybe the north side does have that even tighter setback or clearance of, it varies. The survey shows it going from 1 foot 9 inches to 2 feet.
Wow.
So,
It's on the north side.
On
yeah.
the north side, yeah. And the chimney is also
Okay.
pretty close to the property line
Okay.
as well.
And so the survey, this is one of your conditions, wasn't it? That you
Yeah, this
you
was something
suggested?
that we
And it's been
suggested
done.
to the
Okay.
applicant, and they moved swiftly, so
Okay.
good information before you.
So if they remove the back entry, do they have to make one of the windows kind of in a fire escape? How's that work?
In this case, I don't believe they would, because they're using that particular space as a bathroom, so they wouldn't have the egress requirements of a bedroom. And because they're also more than 3 feet off of the property line, they don't have to do the fire rating on the walls.
There's only one entry into the house now, right?
Yeah, there's an entry from Neilson.
And none of the back
Yeah, this would,
windows or doors have to be able to escape from those? Don't you need a kind of a, don't you need some, if the front of the house is burning, don't you have to get out the back? Don't you need a exit?
Well, I mean, technically you don't, you have to have a means of egress within a certain linear feet of a certain area. So in that sense, the front door can still qualify. And if you have only one access point, can qualify as long as it's within that. I think it's maybe 75 feet or 50 feet.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay. I had a similar question, I had the same question, I think.
Are we asking questions now? It's kind of discussion.
yeah, please.
A couple of dimensions on the plan were incorrect. I want to make sure I understood it correctly. There was, looks like on the detail, it has a 5 foot for the bathroom's 5 by 3, the tile shower area. But yet, that same area shown on the existing floor plan is only 3.5 feet deep. So is he moving that interior bedroom wall, or is that just a misprint? 3 points.
Yeah, I might defer that to the
wouldn't mind
applicant.
Yeah. State your name for the record, and, yeah, and get the microphone, you're on TV now.
So you're talking about,
That dimension, right there is 5 feet, but look below it on the plan there, it's 3.5, well, there's 5 feet, but if you scroll down, it's 3.5 feet there. Is the wall being moved?
oh, that's obviously, that's wrong. That's not a typo.
Okay, that's what I thought. I think that's just the depth of the stair landing. I looked on the other.
You might have been writing, doing this perhaps, the existing stucco, the existing porch perhaps. Might double check, if I can. Or you guys?
Yeah. Well, I mean, since this is only a planning
It's a
study.
study session.
Yeah. I
think it's just kind of-
So we don't need, we
Yeah.
don't have to resolve these issues right now. This is a study session, we're not going to take action.
But maybe just something, yeah, to look into and make
Yeah.
sure it's
Yeah.
clarified
Yeah, that's good.
formally.
And also the interior wall, it looks like you're removing the non-bearing wall. On the detail, it's all gone. On the part of the wall that faces towards the living room, it's, right, but on the next plan down, it shows a remnant remaining. Is that all coming out, or is it just the?
So this is an existing non-bearing wall here, we're removing this section right here. So it's just going to be this section.
So that little L will exist. Okay, but on the upper end, it doesn't show that L, so that's, intent is to leave part of that wall in. Okay, just a question.
Okay.
All right.
Any other questions?
One more.
Okay, go ahead.
So you don't need that a rear staircase for entering your
I don't
backyard?
feel we need to. These size windows, this one here are fairly large, and it's only worst case, a 3-foot jump for the kids, or for us if there was we had to escape in a hurry.
Just for, I guess you really don't hang out, there's much of a yard to, yeah. All right. Okay.
It's not. There's a garage upstairs, so we can get out that way if we had to.
Oh, that's right, you do. You have the interior steps,
Yeah.
that's right, yeah,
Yeah.
okay, right. Okay.
Okay? Any other questions?
No,
All
I
right.
don't think so. I guess I'll just kind of, this is just questions with
Okay.
discussion.
All right, that's great. We'll call you back if we have anything. Good, thanks. Is there anyone in the audience who'd like to address the commission tonight on this project? Okay, seeing no one, then I will open and close the public hearing at the same time. And commissioners, it's a study session. Any thoughts? Who wants to start a discussion?
I mean, the only thing I was going to say, just kind of, I guess in general about the project, that I personally would not have any problems right now as it stands approving the project. I think purely because of reasons that it's existing conditions. They're not changing the existing building footprint. They're not adding to the issue of the reduced setback. They're just using the footprint and closing in the walls. And they're not adding windows to those parts of the walls, so they're not necessarily creating an additional fire hazard. So I mean, if they wanted to, just because this has been an issue in other projects, you could, at your own, maybe offer to just have those walls be fire rated, those new ones that you're putting in case it becomes an issue with neighbors. But
Okay. Anyone else?
Yeah, I kind of agree with Eric, it's the same comments, so I won't repeat them. It's a very constrained site. I don't think you're really you're trying to make the house more livable. With a small tweak, you can't do a lot with it, so I can appreciate the challenge you have.
I guess I agree with Eric's comment.
Yeah, and I do too. I think variances are very unusual. I can't remember the last time we had one and approved one, probably a couple of years ago, maybe.
Last
I don't
week.
know, they're one or two a year. And I think the findings can be made with this lot and under circumstances, and it is not troublesome to me. And so I think you could, as far as I'm concerned, clean up the plans a little bit, raise these little issues that Chris has talked about, clarify the plans, what you want to do, and then come back, and I would vote in favor of the project, and I believe that the variance findings can be made, and I would vote for them. So you could probably bring it back on consent, I think. Yeah. Okay. Anything else? The irony was that when I was looking at Val's site, I noticed there's two more parcels right adjacent to him that qualified in the same way.
And-
I thought, well, how unusual is this?
And one of those will be coming back to you at the next.
Is that right?
On May 27th.
No, maybe
so-
these parcels are all over town, but I don't think so. I don't think we have very many homes with 3, 4, 10-foot, 5-foot backyards. So anyway, there are probably a few corner lots, and I think that they could qualify for a variance, and I think this is the right way to go. Yeah. All right. Okay, so there's your feedback. We'll complete the study session and work with Ann to fine-tune the little plans there, and then come back perhaps at our next meeting. I'm not sure. Work with Ann on that.
It would probably, the next available meeting would be June 10th.
Okay.
So that gives you a little bit of time to.
Okay. Okay, that's great. Thank you. The next item on our agenda then is another study session on the residential rooftop energy system ordinance or
Yeah,
law.
it's more of just an informational update. You received the Best and Krieger memo in your staff report, so we
Right.
just wanted to let you know that certainly we're aware that we'll have to be implementing some changes. just a few things to let you know. Right now, we're not entirely online for permits and inspections. We are still, doing that on the counter, but we can process those applications and payment via email. So in that respect, we are complying.
Okay.
There's a 1 to 3 day timeline, which works for us, except when we're shorthanded due to vacation and holiday, but, we can certainly.
I'm sorry, you say it does work for us?
Yeah,
we can normally meet that?
We try and take care of the solar permits in general within a matter of days, so.
And how frequent are these applications? How many are you getting?
I would say I probably look at anywhere from 3 to 5 in a typical week.
Really?
Yeah, we look at these very regularly, and typically what will happen is one of the solar companies, whoever it might be, whether it be Solar City, Sungevity, A1, they will come in typically with multiple applications and just submit all at once, and then our permit technician routes them to both myself and our building inspector for review and sign off. We both try and get these done within 1 to 2 business days.
Okay.
We can live with the one inspection requirement, but, the result of that is that we miss the opportunity to inspect the quality of the installation on the roof. We're going to try and kind of, work proactively to make sure that we're not missing anything, and continue to ensure that all the, safety standards have been satisfied. In general, we use a 3-hour inspection window rather than 2 that's required, but we can give priority to solar applications so that the wait is no more than 2 hours and comply that way. In general, we try and accommodate time requests from both contractors, installers, as well as homeowners who are on the site for inspection. So we're going to do our best to comply with the bill.
Okay.
So, Ann, could you repeat that? So how long does it normally take someone that needs an inspection for them to get that inspection?
Well, typically, if you were to call for an inspection for work on your house, we would answer the phone and say, we can get you in from basically 10 to 1 or 2 to 5. So it's a 3-hour window, but if it's solar, we could say, okay, we could get you from 10 to 12 or from 2 to 4. As opposed to giving someone a 3-hour window, we can make sure that we can fit that within the first 2 hours of our inspection schedule.
And when would you go out to inspect? At the very end?
Yeah. We would issue the permit and then they would call for a final.
And the online piece or the electronic submittal piece, I'm wondering if there's been any conversation with any of the neighboring cities, if there's any infrastructure that needs to be set up to streamline the process?
Yeah, so we're actually in the process and hope to have it live by the end of the year for doing electronic permitting. We're still in kind of the dinosaur ways, if you will, of people coming in. We don't have a way, people can email us information, but as far as actually uploading files and having a permit number and fees calculated, that's still something that we have to do on the counter. But we are slowly rolling that out and hope to have it live by the end of the year so that if someone does need a permit, they can simply go online to the city's website and apply for it that way and, save a trip down here. So we're certainly looking to modernize our practices.
It seems like because of the law that every city is going to have to be.
Yeah, this is true, yeah. In fact, we will be adopting something. It won't be in Title 20, though. It's actually in the building section, so it won't be coming back to you for any formal action. Yeah. It'll go directly to the council.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Okay. Any questions?
The applicants that are submitting these for the permit, they're all licensed contractors and licensed electricians on it, or just licensed contractors?
Licensed contractors.
I guess can do electricity, right? Okay.
One last question. It kind of distinguishes between kind of electricity generation and then something for thermal, or are you seeing many of those other types?
We've had just a handful of those solar water heaters. I think I've looked at probably maybe 4 or 5 in the last year, as opposed to the 3 to 5 I look at for solar panels in a typical week. So it's not as regularly constructed in town.
Yeah. Yep. Okay. Interesting. Any other questions? No, I think that concludes your report, and I think that's fine. Thanks for all the information. That's great.
Doug, do we have to take any public comment or ask for public comment?
We could.
I don't know if we have.
On informational items, I certainly could. If there's anyone in the audience who'd like to address the commission on the residential rooftop solar energy guidelines and compliance? All right. Seeing no one, can certainly make opportunity available. The next one, item, is a report from Ann, I think, on the parking study.
Yes, so I'm actually very happy to come back to you and let you know that we are making progress on this. In fact, our data collection is going to start this Saturday. So you may see some of the consultants out. They're doing both parking data collection as well as an intercept survey, and they'll be at different locations here in the city. So we're excited to see that finally coming to fruition, and ideally we'll come back to you in July with the preliminary results of that data collection.
Are we doing some of the residential neighborhoods?
Yes,
as
yeah.
well as the commercial streets?
Yeah, and actually one of the things that Oleta had requested of the consultant is to actually capture some of the school drop-off and pickup routines. I know that
Okay.
there's been issues, particularly
that's
around the
really
middle
important.
school.
That's
And that-
really a tough issue.
It is,
yeah.
and I know at the traffic and safety level, they
Yeah.
deal with that, so.
Yeah, I think that's really important. So they'll be looking at that. Parking around schools, parking in the
Parking,
vicinity of schools. There's no
Yeah.
parking lots at the high school. Some of them elementary don't have parking lots, so yeah, okay.
Do you, I'm sorry to interrupt.
And so then, is there any special distinguishing data pockets or packets for the streets, the residential streets that abut the commercial streets? You know what I mean? The side streets off Solano and off San Pablo? Are they going to be
Oh, yeah,
separated
doing
out
data.
in any way, or
Yes.
easily identifiable, or pulled out? I mean, those
Yes,
potential areas where we could lead to parking.
Yeah, I know in
that sort of thing.
in the past when we've had discussions at the commission level where we've noted that there are employee parking issues on those, the 800 and 900 blocks off of Solano, that is going to be part of the data collection.
Uh-huh. Any special focus around parks? Any of the parks?
No, it's primarily the commercial corridors and certain residential, those areas affected by Solano.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Memorial Park has a big parking demand, I think, and of course, that's right next to high school, and you'll be looking at the high school, so. I've never really heard complaints, but no. And then the Veterans Building has events that'll draw quite a few cars, fill up that street there too. Anyway, I think it'd be good to have some data there, and I don't know when they'll be collecting data and what times, but something going on at Memorial Park might be appropriate. Cougar Field, too, I don't know. I think that most of the parking that's done for that is really done on the middle school site, provided there, so may not be a hot issue. I don't know. Okay. Any other thoughts?
Past the data collection thing, I think I sent you a note. I'd be interested in knowing what the school district's receptivity on Solano Avenue with Cornell.
Oh, okay.
Saturday and Sunday periods.
There you go. That's a good one.
Similar to the way it functions at the middle school now for the fall or soccer.
Yep.
And the other one being looking, or at least considering, parking benefit districts along Solano Avenue, because there is an impact on the local neighbors, and if there's a way that we can come up with some kind of funding mechanism that would at least provide an incentive and potentially pay for some public infrastructure to support the communities.
Yep. And this is a parking study more than a policy study, is that right? There's some
Well,
of that,
it's
too?
a bit of both.
Bit of both.
Yeah, so they are going to actually make some recommendations based on the data collection.
Are they going to look at metering? parking meters?
That was one idea that was mentioned in one of our meetings. I mean, I think they're going to look very holistically at parking policy in general and all.
Yeah, there's a lot of history on that, so it goes way
Oh, yeah,
back.
that and certainly every now and then we hear about residential permit parking, which we technically have, but no one's utilized it, and we
Yeah.
haven't updated those code provisions since 1958, so they were overdue.
Okay.
I have one question. Do you know of the specific areas that they will be studying? And if so, could you forward that information to us?
Absolutely.
Because I would love to, I mean, I understand they're doing the commercial districts and around the schools, but I'd love to know the specific extents of
Location, yeah.
their studying.
Yeah, I have a list from them that I can send you.
Oh, great, that would be
Okay,
wonderful.
cool. That'd probably be good, yeah. Maybe you should forward it to all of us. Just for our information. And the timing and the form of the report and the results of their study and tell us a little bit about what you expect on that.
So right now, they're going to do the data collection. I expect that we'll have a meeting in July to look at that,
Okay.
and then probably come back to you with, the full package, either September or October, somewhere there.
Okay.
We're, in a perfect world, we were really trying to dovetail this with the general plan. Unfortunately, it took a little bit longer to get the contract executed through ACTC than we expected, so we're still doing our best to stay on course with that, but we got a little bit later start than we would have liked.
Okay, okay. And will their report be more than just, it'll be some data and analysis and recommendations?
Yes.
then?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, well, we'll look forward to that, so probably we'll see the report in the fall then.
And we'll come back to you earlier with the preliminary data collection.
Okay, okay, great. An interim report on that, all right. All right, good. Anything else on the parking study? Next item on the agenda is the word Safeway. You have a
Yes.
report.
I do. As you may well know, Safeway has been a hot topic in town off and on for the last 8 years, but I'm happy to share with you that they are, right now, we anticipate that they're going to submit for building permit within the next couple weeks to make some improvements to the existing store. Right now, their plans are at Alameda County Environmental Health. Once they have that approval, they'll come to us. The plans are fairly straightforward. They're going to do some parking lot improvements, new slurry seal, that sort of thing. Some cosmetic fixes within the store, new flooring, new refrigeration equipment. The pharmacy that's located at Carmel and Solano will be
Right.
relocated within the store. They're going to shrink the size of the meat department to bring the pharmacy in-house. Altogether, it's $400,000 worth of improvements, so it's pretty substantial. But it's obviously not the more elaborate designs you saw a few years
It's
ago.
not a reconstruction at all.
It's not new construction.
And will the building expand?
No, the footprint's staying exactly the
Footprint stays the
same.
same? Parking lot stays pretty much the same configuration then? All right, okay, interesting, all right. And that will come to us then for zoning approvals?
No, just building
Nope.
permit.
Just a building permit issue? So no zoning approvals required? Okay.
No.
All right, all right, all right. Anything else? Commissioners? Nope, I thought it would be a short meeting tonight, it'll be really short, okay. Any other announcements, communications? Anything? All right. So, the next meeting is May 27th then, 2 weeks from now. And with that then, I will adjourn our meeting for tonight at in less than an hour. Okay.